with my annealed piece of metal, and I have marked it where the center is, so that when I find on my mandrel here, it's marked with 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's halves and quarters. I need a 7.5, right? So I find 7, and then that's a quarter, and that's a half. So I'm gonna line that right up with the half sign. And I'm gonna slide my piece up, and I'm gonna take this nylon mallet, and I'm gonna just tap, and then I'm gonna push it out a little bit. Do it again, push it out again. And you can see that it's beginning to shape around the mandrel. And I'm gonna continue just pushing it out a little bit, starting from the top, knocking it down, getting closer to where I have to watch out for my fingers. A little bit more. And now I'm gonna swing it around this way and see if I can knock it the rest of the way. Okay. So it's a little off, crooked. We have a tapered mandrel here, so that's kind of common. And so what we want to do is straighten that up. And sometimes they'll be off this way. You can put them in the vise and straighten that up. But I think this is fitting pretty good. If I bend this around now, I'm gonna have a gap because the inside diameter is not gonna stretch, or the outside diameter isn't gonna stretch the same way the inside is. So this is where it's really important to take this next step. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pinch this together, and I'm gonna hammer down on the top, and I'm gonna close this up. So I'm just gonna set this right here. You can see our beautiful backdrop. And I'm gonna knock this down so that it comes into fitting. But you can see that I'm off this way a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna undo my mandrel. I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put my ring in the vise, and I'm just gonna tap it that much. And now it's moved it over. Okay, and now I've got a pretty good fit. But one of the things about the shear in the other room is that it munches the metal. So there's a little bit of a dent going in on both sides. That's going to be problematic because you'll have a bigger solder seam there. So the way I was taught to make band rings in industry is now I'm going to take my jeweler's saw, and I'm going to saw down through the middle and cut off that extra material so that I get a really nice 90-degree butt joint. I never file this because when you're filing, you're gonna round the edge. So I know that when I went to work in industry, I had to do a demo and show them how to make a band ring. And they said if I had used a file or anything else other than a saw, they wouldn't have hired me. So that's kind of where my background comes from. So we're now where the ring is not round, but it's fitting pretty well. And now I'm gonna do the last little final fitting so that this band ring solders and holds together really well.